Hey, what up, fam? It's Kevin here. Hey, I'm so happy to be able to connect with you in some way, even if it's not physically in front of you. I miss all of your smiling faces, but I am just glad that we have the chance to do something, so we can be thankful for that. And so I hope this video finds you well. I hope that you don't have as much cabin fever as I do with my children. But also, I hope that you're finding some kind of positive in the midst of this chaos. And I think that's the role that I want to fill during this season. Is I want Anchored High School Ministry to be this kind of constant encouragement in your life during this season of absolute chaos. And I believe that we have the ability to do this because we worship a God that brought order to chaos. And so we have the opportunity to, by God's grace, create a little bit of consistency in your life, a little bit of interaction. Whether it might, and it's not going to be in person, obviously, but it'll be nice to see people. It'll be nice to interact with people. It'll be nice to talk through your experience during this weird season. And so, however we end up interacting during the next few weeks, I'm excited to see what God's going to do. I cannot wait to see the incredible ways in which we see God move, because I believe He's doing something incredible, which we'll talk about in a second. I believe that none of this is on accident. He knows exactly what He's doing, and we have the opportunity to kind of enter into this space and see what that looks like. But I also know that for a lot of you, this is a really tough season. I know that for a lot of us that life is really hard right now, and that you're dealing with a loss of some kind. And loss leads to grief, and grieving is never fun, and it's so hard to wrap our heads around. And so our heads and our emotions can be in 1,000 different places. But it's natural for us to get to a place where we feel that way, where we feel there's a sense of loss. Because for a lot of us, we've lost sporting events, we've lost big events, there are things in question that we're worried about. And so I had a hard time figuring out what to talk about, but I spent a lot of my night last night as I was preparing, just crying and praying over all of you, because I just feel awful. I feel bad that this is happening, but I know that God is doing something incredible through it, and I hope that we can bring a little bit of just God's hope to you in the midst of it. And so I want to talk about loss and grief and how to trust God in the midst of it. And I want to do that using a people group that we talk about a lot that handled loss kind of a lot like we do today, and that's the Israelites. They were a people that God chose, God's chosen people, and they have a lot of ups and downs in their relationship. One point they're running from their enemies, and God splits the sea so they can walk through and get away from slavery, which was incredible, and their faith was crazy during that time. But then we also see moments when they're forced to wander the wilderness for 40 years. This promised land that they've been waiting for forever was taken away from them. And we see the heart of the Israelites in the midst of this. And so I want to just talk about that idea, because I think they're going through a lot of what we're going through right now. And so if you're in here and if you're watching this and you're in a tough place spiritually, I just want you to know that God still loves you. First and foremost, before we go any further, God still loves you, even though you might be angry right now. And it's a natural place to be in the midst of crazy transition, of chaos. Let's just call it what it is. But I'm hoping that through this moment in this Mr. Rogers type setup that I have here, that we can really get into some reasons to hope in the midst of this. So I'm going to read this passage from Isaiah chapter 41, verses 8 through 10, and then we'll talk about it a little bit, and then we'll head out. So here we go. But you, Israel, my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the offspring of Abraham, my friend, you whom I took from the ends of the earth and called from its farthest corners, saying to you, you are my servant. I have chosen you and not cast you off. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, For I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So like I said, God and the Israel people, they had this crazy up and down relationship. And there was many times where things, like I said, were taken away from the Israelites. But you know, the one thing that wasn't taken away from the Israelites, even though there were countless moments where God had every right to just say, forget it. If you're not going to follow, I don't know what to do for you. God's love and his care for the Israelites never changed. In fact, in the moments when things were taken away from them, we see God enter in even more to their situation and reveal himself in more ways than they thought he could. And he does this in this passage with 4 simple words. He says, for I am with you. I think that's 5 words, unfortunately. I am with you. There, forget the 4. I am with you. Not just that he's going to strengthen his people through their hardship, but he's with them. He's not just going to do this one thing and say, okay, see you later, good job. No, he continues to walk with his people. Because in this moment, we don't know what God's up to. We look at the situation like, God, what are you doing? Why now? What's going on? But what I do know, and what we see in Scripture on countless occasions, is that the God of the universe, who brought order to chaos, enters into the worst of our situations and loves us in those moments. I can think of countless moments in my life when I rededicated my life to Jesus. Part of the process of doing that was friendships ending. Friendships I had for years, 5, 6, 7 years, they just ended. Some on my own doing because I knew they were unhealthy. Some doing on situations I didn't even realize. But it was in those moments that I realized that I needed to be stripped away of the things that I thought I needed for survival, or what I thought needed to bring me happiness, to realize that God was there. That God was my rock. That God was the constant. And that I needed to lean in on him in this moment. And I realized that in moments since, that God truly enters into our situation. And I believe he's doing that right now on this cosmic grand scale. And we just need to be willing to enter into it. And so if you're here today and watching this and you're still angry, you're still upset, I want to encourage you, and I want to challenge you to press into that. Remember, we're nothing less if we have these doubts about God. We're not less to him if we're processing through what he's doing in the world. In fact, I think he loves the dialogue. He wants us to enter into that situation because it gives him the opportunity to show up and to show out in our lives. And so let's do that. I want to challenge you to enter into that anxiety, the stress, the worry that's going on, and take the moment to do that, whether that be through small groups, whether that be through personal interaction with some peers, whether it be a personal interaction with your small group leader or with myself. I want you to be able to enter in to have those conversations, and let us mediate with God with you on your behalf. But ultimately, we have a God that understands what we're going through. In Psalm 34, he says this, that the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Right? There's no prerequisite there. It doesn't say that the Lord is near to the brokenhearted that have perfect faith. It doesn't say that he's only near to those that call unto him even. It says, what I read here is that the moment we are brokenhearted, the moment we are crushed in spirit, God is there with us. He enters into our situation. And if God can do that, then he can do incredible things in our lives. And so maybe he's going to use some of these messages moving forward to do that. Maybe he's going to use some interactions with small group leaders or peers to show you that he is near you during this weird, chaotic season. Maybe you're going to experience his nearness in a way that you can't even imagine or fathom at the moment. But I know that God enters stories. He enters our lives, and he loves us just the same. And so my hope and my prayer is that we're able to go through this season, right? Scripture tells us that there's a season for everything. And this is just a weird season we're entering into. But we have to be willing to enter into it. We have to be willing to say, all right, God, let's see what you have for us. Let's see what you're going to do in the midst of this chaos. And I believe if we truly enter into this, that he's going to be faithful just as he is every single time. And so my hope and my prayer is that for the next few weeks that we be this consistent voice in your life, that we be an encouragement to you. Please feel free to call me, to text me, to Instagram message me, whatever the case may be. I'm always here, ready to walk through anything you need during this weird season. I want to pray for you. I want to do all these crazy things, and we're going to try to interact with you in unique ways. And I hope you have a great time with your small group tonight in this weird format. I hope you enjoy it, and just know that we're praying for you. Just know that I'm here for you. I still love you guys, and I can't wait till we get to see each other in person sometime soon. And I can't wait to see you virtually on Wednesday. So we'll talk to you later. Love you guys so much. Talk to you soon. Peace.